Now on the cylinder wall, we're going to go ahead and add some more assembly lube. Basically just spread it all around the walls. You can also use like WD-40 or also just normal oil as if you were honing it. Also put some on your rod bearing. I'll be using this tool to help me install. It's a ring compressor. Basically you set it over the piston and then you tighten it down to compress the rings. That'll keep the rings in place while you try to put the piston inside the wall. Also, another important tip is that the pistons, you always want to match it with the front. Here you can see the letter F, and that F is going to represent front, obviously. Sometimes they have an arrow that'll point that way. The arrow always needs to point to the front. So we have our F on this side, which is facing towards the front of the engine. Alright, now we'll use our tool. Basically just tap it in with the hammer now. Now it's flush, and then we'll flip the engine over, line the crankshaft up. So now you want to make sure that during this process your bearings didn't get messed up. You want to make sure that they stayed flush with the piston rod. Sometimes they can kind of wiggle out of place, so go ahead and just put them right back in place. So that's actually what I had to do. And now we'll be ready for the end cap. And of course you want to make sure that you have the bearing orientated in the right way. You cannot flip-flop them, even if it's the same one that goes to the same rod. You still have to have it the exact way, or it's not going to work. Go ahead and put some assembly lube on it. Now you're going to have to torque the connecting rod and the end caps. You're going to have to torque them. The book requires, I think, 20 foot-pounds. Basically going to use my inch torque wrench. This is actually fine, even though we're using 20 foot-pounds. Basically, if you have an inch to foot, basically a foot has, we'll say the requirement is 10 foot-pounds. Well, there's 12 inches in a foot, so basically you just multiply by 12 to get 120. So if the book requires 20 foot-pounds, multiply that by 12 and you get 240. That one actually goes up to about 260 inch-pounds, so that one's actually still good. I can still use that for the 20 foot-pounds. So first we're going to do 20 foot-pounds, and then the second time we're going to do a 90-degree turn after that. So now we got the first part done. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn them another corner to get the 90 degrees. Alright, so now I'm going to keep on going with the rest of the 5 cylinders, or pistons, put those in place, and I'll be done. For this, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Before, I was using the assembly lube. I was using those on the cylinder walls first. I feel like it's a little bit too thick, so I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and start using regular engine oil. Just add some on the cylinder walls. Also, one thing that I did forget to tell you though is you should go ahead and also oil these piston rings as well as oiling the cylinder wall. But yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and switch out to oil instead of lube. I feel like it was just too thick. So now the bearings, I'm still going to use the assembly lube. So now I've already got all the pistons connected to the crankshaft, and now there's a few things I need to do first. I'm going to go ahead and set up the windage tray on the bottom of the crankshaft now. I got a new one here. This engine's a little bit different. Not all engines have a windage tray. This windage tray here also acts as the actual oil pan gasket. You basically put the windage tray on, then put the oil pan directly on that. It's a different kind of design. I haven't seen one like that before, but so I'm going to go ahead and set that up, and then also go ahead and set up my oil pickup tube. Basically, this is what sucks up the oil into the pump. This is the oil pump here. If you look inside here, you'll notice it has this little ring. That ring has two little flat sides on each side. Basically, that is what will attach to the actual crank. I'm not going to go ahead and bolt it on yet, but I'm just going to kind of go ahead and set it on the crankshaft. So I'll put the windage tray on first, and then the pickup tube, I'll go ahead and put that on with the oil pump as well. And then I'm going to go ahead and bolt everything down. I think these are 20, I forget how much they are.